Well, good morning, everyone. Ooh, that was loud. It's my pleasure to officially welcome all of you to the 40th Annual CSUN Assistive Technology Conference. Yes. "40 years, wow, it's quite amazing that we're here celebrating the 40 years. Woo, those alerts are loud. I'm not sure what's happening out there, but it's a what? I know. Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Julia Santiago. I am the managing director for the CSUN Center on Disabilities and your host of the CSUN Conference. Each year leading up to the conference, I become increasingly excited to be back together with this fabulous conference community. And this year, I'm especially excited given that it's our 40th, and we will be celebrating all week. For 40 years, the CSUN Conference has been an inclusive setting, bringing together a diverse group of researchers, practitioners, developers, advocates, and other participants to share practices and developments in the fields of accessibility and assistive technology. Over the course of those 40 years, we have welcomed tens of thousands of participants. And all of you who come bring the knowledge and the experiences gained while at the conference back home to your communities. It is quite difficult to quantify the overall impact the 40 years has had, but there's no doubt that the conference has touched countless lives around the world. This week, we have so much planned. Many of our familiar popular events return, and some new things to experience. If you haven't already, be sure to access the Attendee Hub, which is available to all conference-registered participants. You can access the Attendee Hub either via the web or the app. I cannot say how excited we all are to finally have an app available to all of you. It's a very handy tool and has all the current and up-to-date information. So make sure to access it and utilize it. Something else that's new this year is the job fair, where I am especially excited about the job fair because for many, many years, we've had many requests from participants and companies. So finally, we are having this available. It's going to take place just following the keynote program from 11 to 1 p.m. in the Platinum 910 Ballroom. Don't forget later to check out the preview for the exhibit hall. That will be this afternoon starting at 4 o'clock. This is a great opportunity, so take advantage because it will be the only time that you'll have exclusive access to the exhibit hall before it officially opens tomorrow morning. Also, tonight, we have a big anniversary celebration planned. We will take over the Platinum Foyer, which is directly outside this room. We will have a DJ and a dance floor in this room, as well as a photo booth across the way in the Elite Ballroom. Come, celebrate, capture new memories, and commemorate the 40 years of CSUN. Don't forget your conference badge, because you'll need that to access the events. I know this week is just getting started, but I wanted to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of our sponsors, presenters, exhibitors, and all of you for making this week possible. I already know that we will learn a lot, make new friends, have a lot of fun, and reminisce the past 40 years. So thank you in advance for making this truly a week to remember. Now I'm going to turn the program over to Dr. Harry Murphy. It is not only my pleasure, but my honor to introduce Harry to the stage. Harry is the founder of the CSUN Conference, which was originally called the Computer Technology and Persons with Disabilities Conference. While Harry has made an indelible impact on the field and industry by bringing this conference to life, he has continued in retirement to not only keep up with the conference and attend each year, but to be one of our most ardent supporters and advocates. This 40th celebration is for all of us, but I know this is so fulfilling for Harry to see how far we've come from that first conference back in 1985. I know he's excited to be here and to be a part of another great year. So please welcome Harry to the stage.
Good morning, and thank you for coming. I've been asked to address the need for the conference 40 years ago, and also to give my thoughts on what the impact of it has been over the past 40 years. So I begin by talking about tools, T-O-O-L-S, tools. I earned an MA degree in 1966 in educational leadership at CSUN. At that time, it was called San Fernando Valley State College. The MA was condensed into 7 months, and it took a non-traditional approach to graduate education. Among other things, we learned how to put on workshops, seminars, training programs, and conferences. Most important, perhaps, how to get funding for these things through proposal writing. Purpose of the whole program was to give us tools that no book could give us. Upon graduation, we were charged to use those tools to become catalysts in the field of disability, to make things happen, to change things. We took this charge seriously. Now to the point. As we were entering the computer age, I was to put those tools to work because it was clear that little was available for people with disabilities. The state of technology in 1985, as it was increasingly obvious that computer technology was going to dramatically affect all of our lives, and held extraordinary promise for people with disabilities, I proposed a conference on technology and disabilities. First conference was held on the CSUN campus in October of 1985. At that time, no internet, no cell phones, no Google, no Facebook, no Amazon, no iPods or iPads, no virtual reality, no artificial intelligence. You get the picture. What assistive technologies were available? Well, to name a few, early synthetic speech for the nonverbal, speech and braille output for those who are blind, improved written communication for those with learning disabilities, and adaptive devices that allowed those with physical disabilities to use a computer. Available, but little known and little used. Many of those at the first conference were seeing these for the first time. By the way, I'm wearing a badge, and at the bottom it says, I attended the first CSUN conference. I hope Julia did not print too many of those. So we tracked the technology revolution over the years. As technologies were developed, the CSUN conference showcased them, promoted them, and championed their applicability with people with disabilities. Look at today's program to see how far we have come. Impact. We became a focal point in the field. So fueled by the credibility of the conference, we quickly became a focal point nationally and internationally. Using my CSUN tools, I authored proposals to private foundations and state and federal agencies that brought in millions of dollars to the university for new programs. We enhanced basic services for CSUN students with disabilities, developed a program for students with learning disabilities, created a computer lab for CSUN students and hired people to train them, paired rehabilitation counselors with CSUN students to develop individual work plans, and invented assistive technology devices. We designed and delivered an assistive technology training program for rehabilitation counselors that took us all over the West Coast and out into the Pacific, Guam, Saipan, Hawaii, and American Samoa. We created and broadcast 2 radio programs in Los Angeles that brought assistive technology issues before the general public. We crafted an assistive technology application certificate program that is now offered through CSUN's College of Extended Learning and the Center on Disabilities. We fashioned a national leadership training program aimed at those with disabilities to train others with disabilities in the field of assistive technology. Impact, the big picture. So here I slow down. What is the big picture? I refer you to the printed welcome that I wrote for this year's conference program. And do you realize that over 40 years, the CSUN Conference has touched the lives of millions of people with disabilities? Millions. Better said, it has done so through you, the thousands upon thousands of attendees and exhibitors who have passed through our doors over 40 years, who learned and applied that learning to the people they serve. The purpose of the conference. We come now full circle. What is the purpose then of the conference? The purpose is a logical extension of the one that was given to me almost 60 years ago in my CSUN Master's program. The purpose of the conference is to give you tools and encourage you to become a catalyst, to make things happen, to change things, to touch and improve the lives of millions of people with disabilities. How could we ever thank you? A couple personal thoughts. A grateful founder of this conference thanks his successors for continuing the conference in such an excellent fashion. Dr. Bud Reiser, Sandy Plotin, and today's leader, Julia Santiago. And a grateful graduate thanks his alma mater for giving me those tools so many years ago. Thank you. You get more of me. I have the honor of presenting the Strache National Leadership Award for 2025. If there was no Dr. Fred Strache, there would be no CSUN Conference. What do I mean by that? Dr. Fred Strache was my boss. In 1984, the year before the first conference, it was a planning year, so I planned the first conference to be held, and I needed to get a sign-off from Fred, who was my boss, because it meant commitments of funding, personnel, and time. And as I recall, he only asked, who will it benefit? I made a rather weak argument that it would help a lot of people with disabilities. So much for vision. I did not have that vision at the time, thinking it might help millions, but I think Fred did. He had a clearer picture of what this would mean than I did at the time, and he gave the green light. So for that insight, the National Leadership Award, the highest award of the CSUN Conference, is named for Dr. Fred Strache, who with his wife, Dr. Carolyn Strache, is happily retired to Hawaii. 2025 recipient of this year's award is David L. Jaffe. Dave is currently an adjunct lecturer in the Mechanical Engineering Department at Stanford University, where he has taught perspectives in assistive technology for the past 18 years. Students pursue projects that benefit people with disabilities and older adults and conclude the course by fabricating a functional assistive technology device. But Dave has another distinction that is closer to our hearts here at CSUN. His was the very first paper to be accepted at the very first CSUN conference. And I gave him a plaque that said that. He had it in his office. There's a story to that. Did you ever plan a party, send out invitations, and agonize that maybe no one would come? Well, that's how I felt when I sent out the first call for participation, the announcement prior to the first conference. Many thousands of them went out in the mail, and then it was nail-biting time. Would no one respond? A week went by, agonized over that. Another week, agonized over that. Another day, and then one lonely response came in the mail. Someone was coming to the CSUN conference. At least one person was coming. I was thrilled. If I can find my page, I'll tell you the rest. And the title of his paper was Alternate Access Methods for Users of Computer-Based Information Systems. So we turn to Dave Jaffe. In gratitude for a lifetime of exemplary service in the field, and from the founder of the conference, a very special thanks to Dave. Thank you, dear friend, for submitting the very first paper to be accepted at the very first conference. And so we present the Fred Strache National Leadership Award for 2025 to Dave Jaffe. You want to do a video?
Hello, CSUN. How you doing? Boy, look at all the people there. I see some people I know too. There's Abby and Nathan and Mike. Good to see you. Hope you're having a great conference. But I'm sorry I couldn't be there today because my course that I teach at Stanford, the students are doing their final project presentations today, so I can't attend. I'm sorry. But back to the award. I'm so honored and humbled to receive this award, and it says acknowledging exceptional leadership in the field of disability and technology, and a commitment to empowering people to improve their lives. So that's awesome. I'm particularly humbled because the list of past recipients have included people that I have come to know and were my inspiration for doing things in the field of rehabilitation and assistive technology. Let me tell you a story about the first CSUN conference. And I remember pretty vividly getting a call for papers for that conference. And I thought, wow, this is a new conference. I can network with some new people and visit Southern California and get in touch with some people I know down there. So I whipped off a paper pretty quick and sent it down there. But I was thinking about what Harry Murphy must have gone through in organizing the first conference. I imagine all the effort that he put into getting this first conference going and sending out the call for papers. And so there he is, after he sent off the call, he's sitting there and maybe he's wondering, will anybody, send in a paper? And it turns out that my paper was the first one that he got. So at subsequent conference, he would always come up to me and say, the first paper at the first conference. And I'm always honored to be that person. So I want to wish everybody a fantastic conference and really enjoy yourself. And thanks again for the award. Bye now.
Okay, you're not done with me yet. Because now I have the honor of introducing a liebe Freund. Did I say that correctly? Dr. Klaus Miesenberger is the head, a dear friend. Dr. Klaus Miesenberger is the head of the Institute of Integrated Studies at Johann Kepler University in Linz, Austria. He teaches courses in computer technology, accessibility, design for all, usability, and human-computer interaction. He is the chair of the European Conference, ICCHP, which is the International Conference on Computers Helping People with Special Needs. He is also the scientific chair of the CSUN Journal on Technology and Disability. Here is Klaus to present the Dr. Arthur I. Karshmer Award for Assistive Technology Research. You're finally done with me.
Thank you, Harry. Wow, what a picture. You should come up and have a look down here. Impressive. Yes, I'm from Austria, and some of you might remember the former governor of the state of California. He shot a lot of action movies in Hollywood, and I'm from the same country. Tribute to Arnold Schwarzenegger, in particular also for his engagement in the Paralympic and Special Olympic movement. Thank you, Arnie. I'm proud to be from the same country. If I should describe myself for those with low vision or blindness who are sitting in the back of the room, take me as the contrary or contradiction of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Several feet smaller. The muscles are not to be mentioned. Still shrinking and fortunately covered below a bluish shirt and a gray jacket. But I'm not here as the terminator or governator. I'm here as the science maker. Congratulations, CSUN, and for 40 years, and thank you having science and research on the agenda in 40 years. And I think this is really an issue where we have to focus on. In times, ladies and gentlemen, when we hear of fuzzy alternative facts or where we experience tendencies of declaring what is the truth out of own crude interests or bypassing and even contradicting the rigorous scientific evidence-based approach of proven requirements of people, we have to remind of and stand strong with the scientific method and not to risk falling back into darker ages. We need to defend democracy and freedom, and with it, its rigorous scientific method on ongoing reflection and correction as the only source of progress. We are very, very proud and thankful that CSUN Conference supports and makes science and research an indispensable asset of our beloved field of assistive technology, accessibility, and inclusion. Many of the technologies, services, solutions presented, displayed, exhibited, and discussed at CSUN have their origin in this open and at the same time rigorous and controlled approach. We never must forget that our field and also the conference you are attending right now origins and inherits and benefits from it. Therefore, CSUN wants to make sure that science and research are and will be part of the fascinating ecosystem of transforming our society into a more inclusive one. This is the mission, ladies and gentlemen, of the CSUN Journal on Technology and People with Disabilities. It offers the possibility to present newest research ideas, concept studies, prototypes to you, the unique CSUN family. They are reviewed and evaluated by at least 3 reviewers from all over the world, and in addition by the panel of chairs before getting accepted for publication. With the Dr. Art Karshmer Award for Assistive Technology Research, named after our friend and co-founder of the journal, we acknowledge this difficult and sometimes frustrating work of scientists. By awarding the best contribution, we value and appreciate the dedicated work of many. The journal and the award guarantee that CSUN is the place where all stakeholders in the value chain of inclusion meet and cross-fertilize. People propose, science studies, technology, and let me say also administration, business, and even politics have to conform, and not vice versa. This guarantees progress. Thank you. The scientific track accepts the best papers only. This award honors the best of the best. This year, 25, the Arthur A. Karshmer Award for AT Research goes to the paper of a dear friend of Art Karshmer and colleague, named A Comparison of Different Styles of Speech for Mathematics by Neil Soifer. Congratulations.
This is quite an honor. Thank you, Klaus, and thank you to the program committee. It seems to be a year, it is intimidating to see so many people, I have to say. It seems to be a year of reflection, so I'm honored to get this, and it has special significance to me because I knew Art for the last 7 or 8 years of his life, and the award brought back a lot of great memories about him. Art was a great storyteller, and hopefully you're going to indulge me while I tell you a story about one of the fond memories of the time we spent together. Art and I were part of a workshop in Paris in 2008, I know it's a tough life, focusing on math accessibility. My 8-year-old son was in a French immersion school at the time, so I thought this is a great opportunity, and I brought him along on the trip. And the key point of this story is that my son is a very, very picky eater. Now, some of you may have that experience with some of your kids or siblings, and so keep that in mind. Let's see, I had told my son how great French food was, but I had forgotten that one of the things that makes it so great is the sauces. And if you're a picky eater, that's a problem. At his first meal, he tried the sauce. That was the end of that. And his diet for most of the week consisted of bread and hot chocolate. Towards the end of the week, I told Art that my son was really hungry and that I needed to find some place for dinner that he would like. Art looked at my son and said, "I know a great place They serve Flammkuchen. I hope I got that right, pronunciation right. It's like pizza. I go there every time I come to Paris. My son was excited, so Art took us to the restaurant that specializes in the Flammkuchen. Again, this is something, if you have a picky eater in your family, you can probably relate to. He saw the servers bringing out the Flammkuchen, and it was square. Not round. That was the end of that. No pizza. So Art said, it's okay, they have spaghetti. So my son, having had some bad sauces to his liking, not to his liking, tried valiantly in his 8-year-old French to describe that he wanted a tomato sauce with cheese on it. But he didn't really know the words real well. So they spent several minutes discussing with the waitress what he really wanted. So she went away, and when she came back with his dish, he broke out in tears because it wasn't a tomato sauce, it was a little diced tomatoes, because he had said, I want tomatoes, but not whatever. So Art was not flummoxed. The waitress was very upset because she had spent a lot of time trying to get that right. And while Art tried to mollify the waitress, I was dutifully peeling off all the tomatoes from the spaghetti or whatever. So Art tried to keep my son happy. He told us a lot of stories. He told us a lot of jokes, and most of the jokes were age appropriate, not all. So basically he did his best to mollify my son. But he said, tomorrow I have a great idea. I know just the restaurant to go to. So tomorrow, or the next day, Art took us out. Again, he wasn't upset that my son wasn't thrilled. And we went to an Italian restaurant, and he had a real pizza. And Art just was thrilled. My son was beaming, he was eating. The stories flowed from Art. And then we had a chocolate mousse for dessert. And at the end of the dinner, my son turned to Art and me and said, Dad, next time let's go to Italy. So it was a great memory, and I want to thank Art for that memory. It was a wonderful time, and I'm just thrilled to be able to remember that and bring this back with this award. So thank you, Art, and thank you to the committee.
Thank you very much, Neil, in particular sharing the funny side of science with us. Now I feel myself a bit like in Hollywood. As soon as they make it to the stage, they don't go away. But don't be afraid, I will disappear soon. It's my honor, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce Dr. William Watkins. He was appointed Vice President for Students Affairs and Dean of Students at California State University, Northridge in June 2010. He provides leadership to the many departments in the Division of Student Affairs, including the Center on Disability. In his role as Dean of Students, he serves as an advocate for students, supports students' well-being, promotes students' ethical development, and is responsible for enforcing the Students' Conduct Code. It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Watkins.
Good morning. Klaus, I don't know that anyone on a college campus enforces a student conduct code these days. So good to see you all here, and Dr. Murphy, so good to see you. I might have been one of those people who was at that first conference as well. We've done some years at Cal State University Northridge, and it's always so renewing and invigorating when we get a chance to see you and have you here. Thank you so much for continuing. Let's give Dr. Murphy another cheer. You know, the first time I attended one of these conferences off the Cal State Northridge campus, it was down in San Diego. Actually, the first one was when we were down at LAX, and then we moved down to San Diego. And I remember when we were down in San Diego, I was in an elevator going up, and someone says, "Are you here for CSUN?" We're down in San Diego. CSUN is in Northridge. "Are you here for CSUN?" Well, I suddenly began to realize that this conference is thought of as the name of our campus. And CSUN is a campus, California State University Northridge. And so I want to greet you all on behalf of the 37,000 students who are there as a part of that community, the 4,000 employees, the almost 300,000 alumni who are part of California State University Northridge. We're about 54 miles north of here, and if you were to travel there around about this time of day, it would take you about 2 hours. I left last night and I got here in just under an hour, so there's a lot to be said for the time of travel. I greet you on behalf of our president, Dr. Erica Beck, who was here with us last year, but like so many college presidents, given what's happening on our campuses now, most presidents and chancellors are staying pretty put on their campuses, trying to navigate those things that tend to occupy us in a very unique way. Ours is a very, very diverse campus, and we're so proud of that. At a time when there is so much objection to and retreat from diversity, equity, and inclusion and justice, we are unabashedly proud to say we are a diverse institution, and we're committed to remaining just that. You know, this conference is an extension of who we are. And certainly the experience of our disabled student population. We have the largest population of disabled students in the whole 23 campus system of the California State University system. Through our National Center on Deafness, we have the largest number of mainstream deaf and hard of hearing students at California State University Northridge. And our students take pride in being in classes with their fellow students who are navigating this world in yet a different way. So this is really a part of who we are as an institution. I want to take a moment to congratulate Julia. Didn't she do a great job getting this conference kicked off? Santiago. She came up under the tutelage of Sandy Ploden, who is here. Sandy, wave. If you know Sandy, Sandy is doing one of these. We are just so inspired by our leaders, present and past, and I want to thank Dr. Freddie Sanchez, our AVP for Student Affairs here, who provides oversight. Freddie, say hi. And I want to thank all of the members of our advisory board, all of our presenters who are here, all of our exhibitors. And I want to thank all of you for being here and being a part of this space. And I'll say a little bit more about that in just a moment. But this conference embodies our journey as a people to ensure that all persons have a right of access and engagement to the fullest extent in their life's dreams and possibilities. This conference demonstrates the capacity to use technology in unique and creative ways to mediate the intersection between what our physical and mental selves are able to do and what we want to do. This conference has been a place where conversations and advocacy and scholarship, research have combined to help fashion policy and build alliances and allies who together forge ahead the regulations and laws and changes in culture and thinking that make a rich life for us all. Some of these outcomes are under attack today, and I'm loath to go where I might want to go in terms of our times. But I want to just simply say this at this point. This room is packed. This room is packed, and it must stay packed. And I want all of you, while you're here, to be present at this moment in time. At a time when around us powers are converging to make others of so many of us, you must be the core of who we all are. Here together, journeying, pushing for change, ensuring this access, and that all of our realities are part of the tapestry of what makes this country. And if we don't speak out about that, this country will be something different. So make sure that you're present when you're here. I want you to also make sure that you take care of each other. Many of you are among the few in your organization who are focused and dedicated in doing this work, and that number may even begin to feel fewer given some of the things that are happening. But I hope before you leave today that you acquire a few ways of communicating with individuals that you did not know, persons who you'll take the time over the next several years, reaching out to and encouraging and motivating to continue this work, that you continue to have the courage to forge ahead and to find the new frontiers of possibility that give us all value in our lives. But this is difficult work. Let no one be mistaken. The work of change is always difficult work. And you, all of you, are here emblematic of what that is about. And I celebrate you, and I honor you, and I encourage you to do that to one another. Would you do that? Take care of each other? Yeah. So the real reason I'm up here is to introduce our keynote speaker. And I had this well-crafted introduction, and I got a change of program here this morning that says, I should say, now I have the distinct pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. Please give a warm welcome to former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords and Dr. Fabienne Cruz. Come forward.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello. Yay! Thank you. Gabby, want to sit on that side? Oh, yeah.
Just a moment to get set up.
Oh, yeah.
Get yourself all set up. All right. Do you like that? You want to start us off?
Hello. My name is Gabby Giffords. I was a U.S. Congresswoman. In 2011, I held a Congress on Your Corner event in my beautiful hometown of Tucson, Arizona. At that event, a gunman shot me and 18 others. Tragically, people died. My journey of recovery is long and difficult. Walking is really tough. Talking is really tough. But I will never give up. Thank you for this opportunity to be here with you today.
And I'm Dr. Fabi Hirsch-Cruz. I've been a speech-language pathologist for over 30 years, and I focus on a communication disorder called aphasia. I've had the great honor of being Gabby's speech pathologist for the last 12 years. I'm very excited to be here with you all and excited to be with you to be part of sharing your story.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Yay.
So Gabby, you mentioned the Congress on Your Corner event in 2011. And folks here, there might be folks who don't know much about what happened that day, so if it's okay, I'd like to start there.
Yeah.
You were a congresswoman. You were doing an event, talking with your constituents in front of a Safeway store in Tucson. It was something you loved. to do.
Love to do.
Loved it. And at that event, a young man with a serious mental health condition came to the event to assassinate you. So he shot you at point blank range.
Who knew?
Yeah. In the head. In the head, yeah. What do you remember about that day?
I remember parking my car. It was freezing cold. Pam Simon, my dear friend, lent me mittens.
So you remember it was cold, and you borrowed some mittens from Pam. You don't remember anything else about that day?
No. What do you remember?
I remember exactly where I was when I heard about the news on the radio. I can tell you the intersection I was driving through. Sabino Canyon, Tanque Verde in Tucson, had the radio on, and they initially announced that you had been killed.
Boo!
Yeah, not good. It was terrifying. I mean, to think that that could happen in our community, just terrifying. They fortunately revised that and said that you had survived, that you were in surgery. And I personally am just so thankful that you are here and able to share your story.
Thank you.
Now, I want to do my part in introducing aphasia. So aphasia affects over 2 million Americans, but very few people know what it is. And it affects more people than have Parkinson's disease, that have multiple sclerosis, but it's so poorly understood. So aphasia is the loss, or at least partial loss, of the ability to use words to communicate. And we usually think just about speaking. You know, we use our words to express ourselves, and that is certainly impacted in most people who have aphasia. But we also need to take words in when other people are speaking. We write words, we read words. All of those areas can be impacted by aphasia. The really important thing to know, though, is that it's a disorder of communication and not a disorder of cognition. So thinking skills, still intact. Smartest person I know, right here. But probably doubly frustrating, because you know exactly what you want to say, you just can't get to the words. But that's very clinical definition. Gabby, what does aphasia mean to you personally?
Aphasia really sucks. The words are there in my brain. I just can't get them out. I love to talk. I'm Gabby, and I'm so quiet now.
Yeah. Not quite. No, aphasia can truly be very isolating. And it does really suck. So Gabby, after the shooting, you started your recovery in Tucson, then you went to Houston for more therapy, and you came back after about 1.5 years, came back to Tucson. Were you excited to come back?
So excited. The mountains, the desert, the sunset, I'm home.
Yeah, she's such a Tucson girl. I was also very excited for you to come back. You know, I had been following closely whatever I could find out in the news. I knew you had been shot in the left side of your brain, where a lot of the language is housed, so I had imagined you were living with aphasia. So I wanted to see how you were doing it, but I think our entire community was so excited to have you back. They wanted to have something positive come out of that really, really horrible day. And personally, I was super excited to get a call to come work with you. And I will never forget that first day. I was sitting in your kitchen, and you pretty much marched in singing and sat down across from me, and you just like took my hand,
Beady eyes.
beady eyes, and just looked at me with this very determined look. And we have sat at that kitchen table for hours and hours and hours. So let's talk a little bit about speech therapy. We always start our sessions off with conversation because that's always your goal, right? If you want to regain your communication skills, it's so you can have conversations with your friends and family. And that's probably the first part where we already introduced technology. So we wanted to sprinkle in some of our technology use today. So we always pull out our phones, share photos, share videos. It's so normal now, right? You sit down with your friends, you take out your phone, because it helps you remember where you went, who you talked to. If you can imagine, though, if you can't get to the words to give the name of somebody, to talk about something you've done, that can be super challenging. If you have that phone to support you, it's huge in supporting communication. So that's always where we start. And we work on a lot of different things. We work on speaking, reading, writing. I thought today we would focus on the speaking part. Coming up with words. Word finding is still challenging. Hello, words. Still challenging. So we work on strategies for word finding. We work on building words into sentences. But one thing that has been really fun and unique with Gabby is that we work on formal speeches. Yeah. So I don't do that with many other people, but it's so important to you. Now, I always want to be focused on the goals, the life goals of the individual. And you were a brilliant public speaker before you were shot, sharing powerful messages, and that was something that was really important to you to get back to. So we spend a lot of time in our sessions working on speeches for public speaking events. What is therapy like for you, Gabby?
A lot of homework. A lot of homework. A lot of homework.
Okay, I do assign a lot of homework.
No soup for you.
But in my defense, she does even more than I assign. So I always wake up to my inbox just full of homework that she's done. And we use technology, again, for homework. What are some apps that we use?
Email.
How about for homework?
Google, constant therapy.
Yeah.
Cactus therapy.
Yeah, those are probably the ones we use the most, cactus therapy and constant therapy. And it's just nice for us to be able to sit down and kind of co-construct a homework set, and you can work on it when you're traveling, and then...
Oh, the clocks.
Oh, yeah. We have a few activities that are call them her nemesis activities, because they're challenging.
Who knew?
So we can set up a homework set, you can work on it. You're away a lot, so you can continue to work on all your therapy activities while you're traveling. And then I can keep an eye on them and adjust them if they need to be adjusted. So that's been super helpful in your recovery, because it can't just happen through time we spend in therapy. It has to be a daily practice to get all those neurons rewiring.
Yes.
Oh, we also played around a little bit with generative AI, like ChatGPT. Because for people who have Broca's aphasia, it's a strength to get to the content words, like nouns, but the kind of glue that combines all those words together into sentences is more challenging. So we feel like generative AI would be like the perfect tool, but we just haven't done enough with it. So if there's anyone in the audience interested in helping us figure that out, please let us know. So back to your recovery, Gabby. You've told me in the beginning you only had 2 words you could say.
What, and chicken, chicken.
Yeah. So you didn't remember anything else that happened that day in front of the Safeway store. You were in the hospital, you must have had a million questions.
Crying a lot.
Yeah.
And
And
so skinny.
you did, you lost a lot of weight. And to not be able to ask anybody what happened, what was going on, anytime you wanted to ask anything, the only things that would come out are what? Or chicken. If you can just imagine that. I want to contrast that now. I was hoping you could share part of a speech, one of your recent speeches, your Summoning Hope speech. So we work a lot on skills to use in conversation, so you can have more spontaneous conversations, but we also work on speeches that allow you to share powerful messages and be really fluent with it and not have to worry about coming up with each word. So I'd love for you to share your part of your Summoning Hope speech.
I've known the darkest of days, days of pain and uncertain recovery. But confronted by despair, I've summoned hope. Confronted by paralysis and aphasia, I responded with grit and determination. I put one foot in front of the other. I found one word and then I found another. My recovery is a daily fight, but fight makes me stronger. Words once came easily, today I struggle to speak, but I've not lost my voice. American needs all of us to speak out, even when you have to fight to find the words.
Yeah, all of you. Still just gives me goosebumps. I want to be clear, though, that this was not an easy speech to master. You can imagine going from what, chicken. So about how long did we work on that?
1 year.
About a year, and it was during COVID.
Yeah.
So no breaks.
No food.
No traveling. So we were on Zoom a lot that year, working on that speech. And like you said, a lot of homework. I thought they might find it interesting for us to talk about how you master a speech like that. So speech comes in from your team, and we both get our Sharpies.
Nix it.
Nix it. So yeah, we go line by line, and if anything doesn't resonate with you, word doesn't feel right, not something you would say, nix it. Those poor speeches are like black by the time we're done with them. But that's when the real work begins. And we go line by line, because Gabby wants to learn it, so it's fluent and just beautiful.
My journey of recovery is long and difficult.
Yeah. So we use a lot of different techniques to try to get to mastery of each line. And for lines like that were particularly difficult, we'll introduce some melody and intonation, some rhythm. It's based on a therapy technique called melodic intonation therapy, but kind of loosely, that instead of just relying on the left hemisphere, the language in the left hemisphere, with music being more diffusely represented, we can pull on other parts of the brain too to help. So we use melody, we will put images of mouth positions. Maybe it's tricky to get to the M at the beginning of my, at the start of a line. And so we'll have a picture of lips together to remind you, my.
At.
Oh, yeah.
At. It. The words.
Yes. So
Functors.
Functors, yeah. She's going to be a speech therapist. So we're never quite sure how difficult a line will be. And those small words, the functors, so prepositions, conjunctions, articles, those tend to be the harder words. longer, more complex content words like nouns are usually easier. And it's not just for you. That's the case with most people who I work with who have aphasia. So we spend a lot of time, like for the word for, we'll put the number 4 in there, just lots of little techniques to help you master each line. But then I leave and all the work falls on her. So we, again, use technology. We video record each line so she can see the mouth positions, and then it's just practice, practice, practice. I think I leave every session with practice, practice, practice. So a lot of work on your end. We call that one summoning hope. So I think that hope is such an important part of therapy, of recovery, hope, determination, just your positive outlook, humor, humor for sure. How do you think therapy's going?
I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I completely agree. We see you continue to improve, and I think that is so important for people to see that in you, because there is still this notion that just one day your brain will decide, okay, I've had enough recovery, I'm going to stop. This idea that there's a plateau. It's so prevalent in the medical community, just in the general community.
2 weeks.
Yeah, so
Insurance.
Insurance is terrible for covering the therapy services for aphasia. Like Gabby said, 2 weeks, sometimes no therapy at all. And we see people continue to improve for years and decades, just over their lifetimes, when they have the support and they have the determination to keep getting better. So that's a message that we're really trying to get out there for the medical community and for people who are living with any kind of disorder, disability, to have that hope and to know that with hard work you do continue to improve after a brain injury or any kind of injury. So you've made such gains in your ability to speak, like we just talked about. Do you feel, though, like you're going to continue to improve? Are you optimistic?
I'm optimistic. It will be a long, hard haul, but I'm optimistic.
Love that. And it's been 14 years now, and you do continue to improve, but like you said, aphasia sucks. Do you ever just want to give up?
No way, Jose.
So what do you tell yourself, though, when things are difficult?
Move ahead to not look back.
And I think that is like such a deep message for all of us, to just move ahead, things that have happened, just to keep moving forward. You're such a good model of that. You have such strength, such determination across your rehabilitation, across your life, just generally. Where do you think that comes from for you?
My mom, Gloria, she is a tough cookie.
She is a tough cookie.
4-wheel drive, 2 hours in the car. 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, Gloria, her mom, lives
Way
out in the boonies of Tucson, and she is a tough cookie. So I see where you get it from.
Kansas.
She is. So Gabby, on top of your therapy, what other things do you do? What are your days like?
I'm so busy, a lot of Zoom calls. Work. Yoga twice a week. French horn, Spanish lesson, biking, pool therapy, a lot of homework, and I'm traveling a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, you are very busy. And I know that you like staying on top of the news.
Arizona Daily Star, Wall Street Journal, New York Times.
Yeah, Gabby's always got her iPad open and she's reading the news. And you bring up another great example of assistive technology in your life. So like Arizona Daily Star has partnered with Tucson-based Audio Eye. Big shout out to our Tucson fans and friends. And have worked to make their website accessible to people who have communication disorders like aphasia. So in addition to reading the news, you can also listen to it. So it supports communication, supports comprehension. And I know that you don't like missing a thing, so that's really important. What are some other ways that you use technology?
Email.
In your emails, yep. Again, you like to listen and read. And when you write emails, because your speaking is a little stronger than your writing, you can use the speech-to-text function for your emails.
Google Lens.
Oh, yes. Google Lens has been fun. So for me, I personally like to use it if I want to find out the name of like a bird or a plant. But if you can imagine not being able to come to the words of just everyday objects, to be able to take a photo and have it provide the word, hugely beneficial. And I love another way you use it when you love going to museums when you're traveling. And when there are plaques or descriptions, if reading is hard, to be able to have Google Lens, to take the photo and have it read to you so you can listen and read. Again, super helpful. So you mentioned of the things that you're doing, you like to play the French horn. And people might not know this about you, so I like that you brought it up. And if you have not seen it, there's a wonderful video of you playing
Yo-Yo Ma.
with Yo-Yo Ma.
PBS. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
So yeah, on PBS NewsHour, and you can still see it on YouTube now. It's a great little clip of you and Yo-Yo Ma playing. So let's talk a little bit about French horn. When did you start playing the French horn?
I was 13 years old. Crappy horn.
Crappy horn. And why did you choose the French horn?
The French horn is really hard to play. I love the challenge, and the music filled me up inside.
So when you started playing again after the shooting, did you have to relearn how to play?
Not really. It's all still there in my brain. Reading the music is hard. Yeah.
So you could play it right away. It's just the reading of the music, just like reading, also hard. It's just interesting how the brain works. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that music is really good for our brains and really good for recovery of your brain after a brain injury. So do you play because you want to rewire your brain? Is there sort of a master plan behind that? Like, why do you play?
Playing the French horn feels really good.
So you just do it because it feels good. Yeah. And no master plan. I think that is so important. It probably is doing fabulous things for your brain, but when you're working all the time in recovery, that just doing things that feel good, really important things that just give you joy.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about music, because I know you like music, love music in general. What is your favorite type of music?
John Denver, Calexico, AC/DC, I love them all.
So Calexico, another shout out to Tucson. I love that, John Denver and AC/DC. That's a diverse list. And I know the answer to this one. Do you like to sing?
I love to sing, I love to sing.
And people might not know, you actually grew up in musical theater, so you spent a lot of time singing.
The sun'll come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow, come what may.
You can imagine our therapy sessions are never boring. Okay, other things you love to do. You love to ride your bike. But because of your brain injury, you have weakness on your right arm, your right leg. You have some visual field cuts, balance issues. So riding a regular bike would be very difficult. What kind of bike do you ride?
I ride a recumbent trike, low to the ground.
Yeah, so 3 wheels, low to the ground. I used to say stable, because when I ride one, it's stable. But she's like daredevil. Yeah. How many times have you crashed now?
2 times.
2 times? Yeah. It's not easy to flip over on a recumbent trike, but she likes to go fast. About how often do you ride?
Every day.
Yeah. People are all around Tucson. See her out on her trike. It's fabulous. We also participate in a big cycling event in Tucson each year.
El Tour de Tucson.
Yeah, it's a beautiful event. Brings people from all over the world to Tucson. We're a big cycling town. How far did we ride this last year?
32 miles. Heavy. Heavy, no. Pedal.
You ride an e-bike. I do not have an e-bike. She has an e-bike, and she complains about pedaling. That's just not her. I have to ride as hard as I can, just so I can keep up with you at the end. All right. Let's talk about a special guest who we've had ride with us the last few years in El Tour.
Mark Kelly!
So your husband, Senator Mark Kelly, has been very important in your recovery. How would you describe your teamwork?
He is my best friend. He is so funny. I love him a lot.
He is truly funny. Several times where he's come to the door or come through the kitchen while we're doing therapy with a gorilla mask on, or there's a plastic cockroach sitting in my seat when I come in. They are quite a team. Can I share this? Yeah, okay, I have just a little story to share. Mark came into the kitchen one day, we were doing therapy. He had a bag, he put his bag down and walked over, and it was like, goodbye, I love you, and Gabby took his little bald head, gave him a big smooch on the top of it, and I love you, goodbye, and he went and grabbed his bag, thinking, oh, he must be going on a big trip. Like, Mark, where are you going? The gym. He was going to the gym. So they just have the most beautiful, remarkable relationship. He's kind of following in your footsteps now. How do you feel about his work in the Senate?
I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. So in 2022, Gabby, a documentary came out about your life. It's called Gabby Giffords Won't Back Down.
Rotten Tomatoes, 100%.
Yeah, she won't let you forget it. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend it. Parts of it are tough for me to watch, but parts of it I always leave just feeling so inspired. Why did you decide to take part in a documentary?
I love the film RBG. The directors, Betsy and Julie, do a wonderful job celebrating women's lives. Strong women get things done.
So what was it actually like being the subject of a documentary?
Cover was hard. Masks, Zoom, no hugs, but the crew was fantastic. Visiting my mom, speech therapy, bat mitzvah, riding a bike, and a whole lot of singing.
You shared so much about not only your public life, but your private life in that film. What do you hope that people will take away from seeing your life story?
For me, it has been really important to move ahead, to not look back. I hope others are inspired to keep moving forward, no matter what.
They show a little clip of you celebrating your bat mitzvah. Why was that important to you?
My dad was Jewish. I wanted to feel connected with my Jewish heritage.
A lot of memorizing, though, that goes into preparing for a bat mitzvah. How was that?
2 years, 2 years.
Yeah, a lot of practice,
Yeah.
a lot of practice.
Ruach HaTaonai.
And then in 2022, you were invited to the White House to receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's the highest civilian honor in the US. What was it like receiving that award?
Amazing, amazing. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Beautiful day.
Yeah. So we're not all probably going to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom. But it doesn't mean we can't do our part. What's your advice to people who might be looking around their own communities and wondering what they can do to make a difference?
Be a leader, set an example. Be passionate, be courageous, be your best.
Beautiful. I love that you encourage people to be courageous because you are such a model of courage. If you can imagine that you don't know if the right word is going to come out. No, you're thinking it, you don't know if it's going to come out. To be able to get up in front of thousands of people to give a speech, that's courage. But even on a smaller event, you will approach every single person in the room and talk to them or give them a hug. And to not know if a word is going to come out right, I'm not sure everyone would have that kind of courage. So I love that you model courage in just everything that you do. Would you say your recovery is a process of discovering a new Gabby Giffords or a fight to reclaim the old one?
The new one, better, stronger, tougher.
Love that. So it's been now 14 years since you were shot. What have you learned from your experiences over the last 14 years?
To be grateful for friends and family, and to live every day to the fullest.
So important. So just one more question for you. It's hard still for you to walk, hard for you to talk still, lots of therapy.
Lots of therapy.
What keeps you going?
I want to make the world a better place. I want to make it a better place.
Good. And I think you're doing exactly that. So it's been so nice today to sit down with you, have a chance to share your story with this wonderful audience. No homework tonight. I just want to thank you for being an inspiration to me and really to so many people. You've been working a lot of speeches, and I was hoping we could wrap things up with you sharing your Move Ahead speech.
Our lives can change so quickly. Mine did when I was shot. But I never gave up hope. I chose to make a new start, to move ahead, to not look back. I'm relearning so many things: how to walk, how to talk, and I'm fighting to make the country safer. It can be so difficult. Losses hurt. Setbacks are hard, but I tell myself, move ahead. I'm finding joy in small things, riding my bike, playing the French horn, going to the gym, laughing when the friend, the small things add up. We are living challenging times. We're up for the challenge. My own recovery has taken years. Many, many, many people have helped me along the way, and I learned so much. I learned that people care for each other and work together. Progress is possible. A better world is possible. But change doesn't happen overnight, and we can't do it alone. Join me. Let's move ahead together. Thank you very much. Thank you. Just go through them. Thank you, Ray. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Enjoy the conference.
Thank you. Thank you. And now I wish all of you a wonderful conference week. Thank you for coming.